Good morning, good evening, good night, whatever you're at. This is the review for the immigration unit, Unit 5. Okay, so I'm going to go through pretty much the entire test. What sections of the test there are, what type of questions you're going to see. I'd say if this video is going to cover about 90% of the test. So if you pay attention here, you set yourself up for an A if you can get all this stuff down. Section 1 should be the easiest. It's multiple choice. There's 12 questions. So this is stuff that you've seen 100 times over again. Like invention that caused the need for more slaves. Cotton gin. What led to the succession of the southern states? Lincoln being elected. What was the first battle of the Civil War? Fort Sumter. Who signed the surrender in the Civil War? That would be Robert E. Lee. What freed slaves at the federal level? 13th Amendment. What freed slaves just in the Confederacy or the South? The Emancipation Proclamation. What was that discovery in the Civil War that led to less people dying of infection? Bromine. Why did Andrew Johnson become president? Well, Lincoln was assassinated, and believe it or not, some people are still getting this wrong. They're saying JFK was assassinated. No! It was Lincoln that was assassinated. That's why Johnson became president. You need to know your four major people of the Gilded Age. So, steel. Beard of Steel, Andrew Carnegie. Steel, 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 Andrew Carnegie. Skyscrapers, Andrew Carnegie. You need to know Rockefeller was the oil guy. Remember the Rockefeller, oil Rockefeller to the ground. Oil pipelines, oil, 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 John Rockefeller. You need to know light bulb and direct current, Thomas Edison. Light bulb, direct current, Thomas Edison. You need to know alternating current, Nikola Tesla. That's the first section. It's 1 through 12, multiple choice, easy stuff. You've seen it before. Now we're getting into the immigration sections, and there's several sections to this. 3 different matching section. Matching section number 1, you need to be able to identify the different immigrant groups to specific facts about them. For instance, who came over for the potato famine? The Irish. Who was stereotyped as being very drunk all the time or had alcoholism? That would be the Germans. Who was stereotyped as being really violent? That would be the Italians. These were stereotypes. They weren't true, but this is what they were labeled with when they came over here. Who came over here for the gold rush and built our railroads? The Chinese. Who came over for the gold rush but ended up in Hawaii as farmers? That'd be the Japanese. So you need to know these different groups, okay? The second matching section is terms and laws. Terms like xenophobia, fear of foreigners. That's what a xenophobia is. Nativism, overt confidence into one's own country, as in they will take their country's side no matter what they do, even if it's horrible. For instance, the Nazis were nativists. They did horrible things, and they didn't care because their country did it, so it made it right. Nativism ideology can get scary. We're going to talk about DACA. DACA was an executive order that Obama wrote that impacts people today in America, which we talked about in class. The DREAM Act, a bipartisan legislation that was there to impact immigration, which we talked about in class. The Naturalization Act of 1790. That was the first law on immigration on the books. And if you remember, it was a little bit rough. You know about amnesty, granting citizenship to immigrants. That's the second section of matching. The third section of matching is people and places. So this could be Emma Lazarus. She was yes immigration. Remember, give me you're tired, you're poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free. So Lazarus, yes immigration. Hall, no immigration. He called immigrants scums and beggars. So Hall is no on immigration. You should know about the Know Nothing Party, which was the first political party that was against immigration. You should know about the 2 different places on a ship. Cabin for the richer people, steerage for the poorer people. And the majority of people that came over here on these immigrant ships were going to be in the steerage cabins or the steerage area. They were going to be the poorer group. Angel Island and Ellis Island. Ellis Island, E for Ellis. E for Ellis, East, and Europeans. It was on the East Coast for Europeans. Angel Island, AWA. Angel Island was on the West Coast for people coming from Asia. The last 2 sections are a little bit more extended answers. So there's a section called the short answer section. You're going to need to tell me some things about the blue eyes, brown eyes experiment, You need to be able to tell me the Nakarima, the story of the Nakarima that we read in class, and tell me what those two things taught us. What was the lesson from them? What things did we get out of the Blue Eyes, Brown Eyes experiment and also the Nakarima reading? You also have to tell me the answer to the question for this unit. What is our country? Is it more Emma Lazarus or is it more Prescott Hall? You should be able to come up with a conclusion to that and cite evidence to what we talked about to prove your point. And finally, political cartoons. There will be a few political cartoons that you're going to have to be able to look at and describe. With all this said and done, that is your test that's coming up for immigration unit. You got this. Peace out.